which I thought was special. She said, people will forget what you say. People will forget what you do. But people will never, ever forget how you make them feel. People will forget what you say. People will forget what you do. But people will never, ever forget how you make them feel. Now, you meet Tom Konchalski, you get a handshake. Now, the handshake might take 3 minutes. So you got to, he squeezes your hand, he looks you in the eye. Hey, how are you? How's your family? How's your uncle? How's your cousin? How's your brother? It takes a while. But when you meet him, you say, wow, this guy, he cares about me as a person. He's special. He's meticulous. You can tell that he's devoted to what he does. But he's a special person. So when you meet him, he really he cares about you. He cares about your family. He cares about your person, how you're feeling, etc. Last thing I'll say, because Steve Lyman said, "Hey, I got to get home and watch Star Trek reruns." So I can't go too long. I'm not dating myself, but he likes Star Trek. So there's a poem named "If," guy named Rudyard Kipling. He said, "If you can walk with kings, all right, and walk with kings like he does, all right? You walk with kings, all right, and not lose the common touch." Tom walked with kings in college basketball, high school basketball. Jack Curran, Lord of Mercy, was close with Tom. Morgan Wood from DeMatha High School, retired coach, close with. Coach K, he's close with. Tom Izzo, Roy Williams, Jay Wright, John Calipari, on and on. Great coaches in the game, high school, college, were friendly with Tom, knew Tom, but respected Tom. But he's also friendly with ordinary people like me and people that just do ordinary jobs. So he's special. He's a tremendous person. He had an unbelievable career. He's been a bunch of Hall of Fames. He certainly deserves this honor. It's my privilege and pleasure to introduce Tom Konchalski.
Thank you, Coach Gillen, for that kind litany of perjuries. Congratulations to the other honorees, the ones who actually deserve to be honored. And I'd like to apologize to them and to all previous honorees for lowering the property value in their neighborhood. Coach Jack Alisi coached 38 years at Xaverian High School in Brooklyn. The first 16 as junior varsity coach and assistant varsity coach, the last 22 as the varsity coach. In the league, the CHSA, renowned for his coaching excellence, he was regarded by his peers as one of the very best coaches in the league. His teams won 2 city championships, 2005 and 2016, whereupon he retired. Today, what he does is he serves as the patriarch of a family of coaches. His oldest son, John, is the coach of Baruch College in the Cooney Conference, and his younger son, Chris, is the new head coach of Manhattanville College in the Skyline Conference.
All right.
Coach Steve Lavin has coached successfully at iconic college basketball programs on both coasts. In the East Coast, locally at St. John's, and on the left coast at the most iconic program of them all, UCLA. He is currently in his second incarnation as a successful broadcaster, this time at Fox Sports, the first time around at ESPN and ABC. The last few decades, Ed Corbett has been arguably the finest referee in college basketball. He was the consummate professional. As good of a referee as he was, he's an even better person. Ed is a product of the New York City Catholic High School League. He played for Sacred Heart High School in Yonkers for one of the best people I've ever been fortunate to know, Jerry Houston. 25, 30 years ago, the CHSA was nationally recognized as the top high school basketball league in the country. Now, most of the legendary coaches are gone. The Jack Currans, the Tom Murrays, the Don Kents, the Jack Alisis, the Tim Learys, the Jim Gattos. And the talent level isn't quite as elite as it used to be. But it's still overall the best league, because the vast majority of its people are educators first, and the league refuses to compromise its standards. There's an old Gaelic adage which translates to, the work praises the man. Now, you may not get a plaque tonight, and you might be the only person in the room not getting a plaque, but the very existence of this dinner and the 6 spectacular years he strung together at Stack paid great tribute to Coach Tobin Anderson. Basketball is a game of great beauty and elegance. It's played by the greatest athletes in the world. Growing up in New York City in the late 50s and early 60s, how could you not fall in love with this game? Watching my first hardwood hero, Connie Hawkins of Boys High, palm, not cup, but palm rebounds out of the air with one hand. Seeing a decade before the installation of the three-point arc, Tony Jackson and Roger Brown launch and drain intergalactic jumpers with monotonous regularity. Witnessing Jackie Jackson, unequivocally the greatest jumper who ever lived, repeal all the laws of Newtonian physics with regard to gravity. How could you not fall in love with this game? And then going on to Archbishop Malloy High School and being privileged to follow up close and personal Jack Curran develop into one of the great coaches in the history of the game at any level. And watching a tall, skinny kid from St. Jude in Upper Manhattan by the name of Ferdinand Louis Alcindor grow into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and a true force of nature. This was the perfect storm. This was truly a golden age in New York City basketball. How could you possibly not fall in love with this game? How fortunate I've been to have had the mentors of my basketball life whom I've had. The great Jack Curran. His New York State record, 972 wins in basketball, and national record, 1,708 wins in baseball, don't even begin to touch the essence of this man. He was a superb teacher of the fundamentals of both games, but more importantly, he was a peerless teacher of the values of sport. Howard Garfinkel. Over the last 60 years, there have been perhaps a handful of people, perhaps, who've had the impact on this game that he's had. And his influence was felt in 2 areas. Firstly, in starting his HSBI scouting service in 1964, he brought the evaluation of talent in college basketball recruiting from out of the dark ages into the modern era. And secondly, along with Coach Will Klein, in co-founding the 5-Star Basketball Camp, he helped develop more than 500 future NBA players. But more importantly, for 35 or 40 years, 5-Star served as the primary think tank in American basketball. A diminutive college basketball coach, all 5'2" of them, by the name of Stu Aberdeen, who coached my older brother Steve to a national championship at Acadia University in Canada, and then went on to be assistant to Ray Mears at the University of Tennessee. In his first year at Tennessee, he signed Spencer Haywood of Pershing High School in Detroit to a national letter of intent, even though Coach John Wooden of UCLA recruited him. A few years later, he successfully recruited Ernie Grunfeld and Bernard King. Went on to Marshall University as head coach, spent 2 years there as head coach, and then tragically died of a heart attack at the age of 43. Unquestionably, the most charismatic recruiter I've ever been around. An older gentleman by the name of Dick Maloney, who for more than 20 years scouted players for College of the Holy Cross, and with whom I went to tons of games. Another gentleman, Joe Mulholland, who coached probably the first integrated outside teams in New York City, and who, along with my parents, taught me that no matter how different we may look, we're all brothers and sisters in this thing together because we have the same loving Father in heaven. and that the color of your skin doesn't matter any more than the color of your hair or the color of your eyes.
Outstanding. Wow.
How fortunate I've been to have those people in my life. Basketball has been my mistress, but my Catholic faith is my lawful wife. What I have attempted to do is to place basketball in the service of my faith. Having said that, basketball has given me far more than I've ever been able to give it in return. It certainly has not showered extravagant material blessings upon me, but has provided me with memories and friendships that have lasted a lifetime and which constitute one of the deep joys of my life. A great many of those memories and friendships are centered around the five-star basketball camp. What a special place, and what a special time. Unless you were there, you have absolutely no idea. The cuisine and the living accommodations were anything but five-star. But the instruction, the coaching, the talent, and the competition were all nothing less than 5+. This truly was basketball heaven. I am privileged to have been associated with the five-star basketball camp. I often think of myself as a hardwood version of Forrest Gump. Undeserving as I am of any recognition, I'm extremely grateful. And I only wish that all of your lives have been as deeply enriched by this great game as has mine. Thank you.
Oh my God. Wow. 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 Now, crazy.